up everyone? I'm at the Airbnb where I've been keeping these benches for a few weeks now. I made these specifically for this space because they're extremely durable and they can handle the wear and tear from different guests coming in and out, especially during ski season where you're popping off your boots. If you're gonna build these to use in your house, well, just know that they're probably gonna last forever. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this wooden 2x4 bench. Hit that like button down below to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, and let's get on to the project. I'm making two identically built benches today, so when I go over the measurements and materials, I'll be explaining it as if I'm building just one. The entire thing is made out of 2x4s and 1x4s, and I'll have a detailed measurement and supply list down in the video description, so you don't have to worry about pausing this video. I do have an old blade on my miter saw, so I'm going to replace it with something finer so I can get some cleaner cuts. These benches will be 70 inches long, and the measurements work where there won't be a ton of wasted scrap, but you can make it as long and tall as you'd prefer. Here you can see where my long piece is shared with a leg piece with only a small piece of waste in between. So I'm going to put my protective hearing and glasses on and get to cutting away. And since there are a ton of repetitive cuts here, I'm going to make a 19-inch template piece so I can quickly measure and cut everything. As I'm cutting away, Tessa is sanding the pieces down. Only the edges need to be sanded on most of the legs since the faces will be butted up to more wood. And obviously on the front facing pieces, you want to sand those down so they're smooth as well. For this, we're just using 120 grit sandpaper, nothing too fine and nothing too coarse, it's just a wooden bench. For one of the benches, I'm going to mix it up by staining the 1x4s with a solid colored stain that I found on clearance. I've never used this before, so I started off brushing it on, but it just looked like paint because it was so thick. So I used a rag just like I would with regular stain, and it came out much better. Same as sanding, you only really need to stain the edges of most of the pieces. You don't need to stain the faces of them. Then for all the 2x4s, I'm going with the golden oak stain, and this is the same color I used for the entire other bench, which I actually think came out much better. Really quickly, I'm going to demonstrate how this is going to be put together using my mix match stain bench, and then do a finer deep dive just so you get an idea. And for those of you with kids, maybe you can relate to working like this. If you gotta pee in the tree, okay? Now here's a quick 10-second fast frame for the first build. Good morning, it's a new day. Today I'm going to assemble the golden stained one that we did here, and I'm going to go through some of the step-by-step details in the beginning. But once you get the pattern going, it's really the same process over and over again until you finish out the bench. We're going to begin with these fully stained boards here. You can see it's stained on every side, and I also wrote front and pointed an arrow. So this is the front side because it's the prettier side, and same with this one. So your pretty side goes face down. This is my first pretty board, and this is my face, so it's going to go face down. And I'm going to build the bench upwards, so that's why you want the pretty stuff facing that way towards the floor. That connects there, and that one on that side there. For the rest of this process, I'm going to be using 2-inch nails here, brad nails 18 gauge, along with this little Ryobi nail gun. You load them up, a bunch of glue, and then we're going to connect these. The way we're going to connect these boards to the top is with these little 1x slats. So once you get this laid out like I have here, you actually rest this on top. And you want to make sure these are all even, really carefully. I'm going to put a bunch of wood glue here, starting with the top of this 2x4. I don't want it to drip through, so I'm not going to put a ton. I'm gonna do the same to the other side. Then what comes next is your next board. Sits right on top there. This one's pretty warped, so this will need a screw to go in to really undo that warp. That's bad. And the kids are out to play. To fix that warp right there, I'm gonna drill out a couple holes. Wanna go to the boat?
Yeah.
We'll go to the boat in a little bit. You're here to have fun with Sissy right now, okay?
Okay.
Alright, go have fun. And then the last step of this pattern is to put this board here. And now you see how it goes. You got your leg, your thin slat, your leg that supports your seat, and then you just keep going up from there. And every once in a while I'll put screws through these just to really hold it together. These 3-inch screws will actually go through 3 different boards, so it just grabs a whole chunk of it. I'm here with my last board, and in this case I don't want to put screws on the face of my bench, although it doesn't matter that much. I kind of like the way screws look a lot of times in furniture, but I'm going to make this clean. There's not going to be a single screw visible, but that means I need to put a ton of glue here, because all that's going to be holding this to the bench is a bunch of brad nails, the glue, and then it will have the support 2x4 right here when it's all said and done. But a ton of wood glue is the trick. Now I'm going to use a premium on both sides. I'm using an entire bottle of glue on this project. I'll have to use my other glue here for the leg. Remember the front facing side? It's completely stained. This is about how much glue I use for the inner boards here. I wish I had more for the face board, but I'm almost out of 2 bottles here. But I did do 2 benches, so if you think about it, it's really a bottle of glue per bench, probably a little less. These bottles were already somewhat used. Put that on there, line it up. Nice, and look how flush that is. Now the legs here, I'm probably gonna have to cut with a skill saw to just level this all out.
But we're hearing a loud sound in the trees. It's a summertime tradition to hear that. They're cicadas. All they do is they sit up in the trees. The boys like to sing to find a girl. Once they find a girl, they have some babies, and the next thing you know, they die.
No matter how hard you try, it's going to be really hard to get each one of these cuts perfect, especially when you're leveling it this way and over here. So you can see some differences where that one's shorter and longer. So I'm going to have to come here and cut this off. It's like that on all of these, even that one. I put tape on the legs to prevent the wood from chipping and getting shredded while cutting this, but really this whole step was a mistake. This skill saw does not go all the way through, and it really just made things even more crooked. What I did find though was that planing these legs was the right trick. The feet ended up being real smooth. I think it's important to seal this up after it's all built because wood glue doesn't really stick to sealed surfaces as good as it does with porous wood surfaces. The problem then is that it's hard to stain in between these bench slats. Well, then make something for that, a spray-on clear coat. I'll use a combination of spray for in between the slats and brush on the rest of the surfaces here. Ultimately, each bench will get at least 3 coats with a very light sanding in between each coat. And that's how most of my projects go, and I found it gives it a nice finish that lasts. Again, all the products I use here will be listed down in my description along with the measurements and project steps. That's all there is to it. It's extremely simple to do, it's pretty cheap, and didn't take that long either. The only weird tool you'll need for this project is probably the hand planer, which I'll have linked down in the description below. All in, this project was about $50 to build each bench, plus or minus a few dollars for the stain and paint that you'll use for it. I know some of y'all get really mad in the comments below if I don't give you the exact price on how much these cost. I do already have the tools to build it, and I did already have some stain and paints and the wood glue. So take all that into consideration. It's $50 pretty much just for the wood and the screws or nails. Thank you all so much for watching, everybody. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe. Drop your comments down below if you have questions, concerns, or you just want to tell me how nice or how bad this project is. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you all on the next one.